everyone. Welcome to the first ever episode of season 1 of A Man's Girl USA podcast. Thanks for joining us. I'm super stoked because I've been wanting to do this for a really long time. So we have a guest joining us in a second, but first, I'm just going to get down to it. I want to talk about President Trump's first 100 days because that was yesterday. All I can say is promises made, promises kept, right? Because that's what he's done. He's a man of his word. I just don't understand. People can't see that. It's so frustrating to me. What he's done in his first 100 days, and I'm sure I'm going to miss a few things, but he's secured the borders. He's created national security policies that actually will keep America safe. And so his policies are going to cut down on like child sex trafficking. Okay. That's something that Joe Biden, China Joe, and his administration started, because I don't care what anybody says. You don't lose almost 500,000 kids at the border. So I still have, I've been called a conspiracy theorist, but I'm just going to tell you my logic and how I see him is they were getting a cut from the cartel. You don't lose 500,000 children at the border. And all of a sudden now when people are, the criminals are being sent back to their country, the criminals, right? People are complaining about the children. Oh, you can't separate the children. I'm like, where were you when these 500,000 kids went missing and their innocence lost? And God knows what they have gone through if they've lived through it. We still don't know. We can't account for over 300,000 still. So yeah, I have a lot to talk about, but I'm going to go on to the more of the accomplishments that President Trump has achieved. So he created tariffs that going to give the U.S. more independence. I can't understand again how people don't see this. He is a genius, and it's almost laughable when I see people on social media literally telling us they'll go a whole page long about what they think and what he's doing wrong. And I'm just laughing going, you know what? Who are you? This man has proven, I go by historical data, and history taught me that his first term, he was amazing, turned America around from the debacle that was Obama, right? And then he's proven. So as an employer, someone who owns a company, I'm going to look at someone and go, you're proven, you've got history, you've shown us that you can do the job. And they're still arguing like he's an idiot. So anyway, that's another story. But he also banned males I can't call them men. I don't say ban men because they're not men.
Damn. Sure like to cut that cake.
Hey, yo, hold it. Hey, yo, you trying to look at my lumps?
Any male who would go out of his sex competitively to compete with the weaker sex. And yeah, I said it. It is what it is. God created men and women equally to a certain point, intellectually maybe, but physically no. So whenever these men leave their sex to compete against women, it's you're not a man.
The bag's in the car, Jose.
So anyway, but Trump banned males from women's sports, and he put a stop to DEI. DEI is one of the most racist things ever, but that makes sense, right? Because the Democrats are the ones who founded the KKK, and Abraham Lincoln, who was a Republican, actually freed the slaves, right? So they can't do anything right. What about Kathy Hochul, the governor of New York, when she made that comment about Black people don't know how to use computers? Are you kidding me? Democrat, racist. What about Joe Biden? He's a perfect example. Remember when he made that comment, poor kids are just as smart as white kids? I mean, okay, I don't forget those things. And I hope, but unfortunately, Democrats and liberals, they do. And they just always are so zoomed in on what President Trump is doing and try to find the negative in it all. But I don't care, because guess what? We're winning. And I don't care what the polls say. The MSM, the mainstream media, they are lying. What's new, right? Fake news. He's doing great in the polls. I just saw a video today that went viral on social media in Beverly Hills, California, where they were just cheering Trump on. I mean, that's insane. That's supposed to be one of the most supposedly, liberal places, right, in California. And they were just cheering him on because everyone's feeling it. They're feeling the safety. They're seeing the crime going away. When the governors in the blue states can't keep their citizens safe, okay, then it's time for federal government with someone like Trump, who is America first, to come in and swoop in, be the white knight that he is, and save our citizens. I'm sure I'm missing a lot. I'm leaving a lot out, but here to help me navigate President Trump's accomplishments is my first ever guest on my show, California man, of all things, who is a conservative. So that kind of makes him a unicorn of sorts. And ladies and gents, Mr. Jim Meehan. Hi, Jim.
Hi, Amy, how are you? Nice to meet
Good.
you. Nice to see you again.
Yes,
Yeah.
you too. So
So I
you were
have to
brave.
say, I like the way you think. You nail it. And you're right on top of it. You saw the Beverly Hills thing yesterday, and you know, and you mentioned Huntington Beach. I'm actually not a unicorn here because Huntington Beach has been in the news quite a bit because we challenged Governor Newsom on voter registration and won in court. And so Huntington Beach, it's a beach community, and it's everything about a beach community, but it's also very conservative, and Orange County in general. Right.
So interesting. And that's good to know. It's good to hear that you guys won
Oh
against
yeah.
Gavin Newsom. Wow, that's a
Right.
huge victory. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's huge. And so, and that's been typical here in Huntington Beach, and even Newport Beach, with is just next door to us, has
Hmm.
become that as well. So it's like the Orange County coast has really shown the rest of the state how to be. Because, and if you look at the election map in 2024, and you look at California, it's almost all red. The only
Hmm.
blue is, of course, San Francisco and LA, but even San Diego has become that way. So it's, California, there's a lot of hope here. A lot of people, and we've actually, I don't know if you saw it, but we moved up to the fourth largest economy in the world. We passed Japan a couple weeks ago.
Wow.
So, in spite of the government doing what they do to
Hmm.
impede growth, we are still growing like that. And manufacturing is going to be one of the keys that drives that. So,
Yes, absolutely. And it's funny because I always like to research. So I see people say things and then I research it because I go, well, maybe they're right. I don't know. But I don't know what I don't know unless I look for it. And I don't just go to one
right,
place. I go to
right.
different sources just to make sure I'm reading something that's credible. And so
Mhm.
I read where on several different sources that because people are doom and gloom. You've got the liberals on LinkedIn and everywhere going, the tariffs are going to be the death of us. I saw that CEOs are saying it's going to tear their business. And I'm like, well, from what I read, a lot of these smart CEOs and business owners knew about the tariffs back in March because Trump's been talking about that. He actually talked about it before the election, and they went ahead and bought. They bought while the price was down and planned for this. So a lot of those business owners are not going to be as hurt by some of this because they planned and bought ahead. It's kind of like when you buy an investment, when you buy stocks, right? You buy when the price is down and you sell
Mhm.
when it's up. So they
Right.
might come out hand over fist, but good for business owners. um, for me, as an American citizen, I'm prepared. I'll pay a little extra if it means eventually it evolving into something that's going to give America her independence, right? Against these countries who, like Trump has been saying, have been taking advantage of us for years. He said over 50 years, they've been reaping the benefits. And really, we haven't really gotten a whole lot. I mean, they've been on the winning end of the tariffs. So I think it's time for people to stop the fear mongering and understand that, you know, actually, if you look at it as a whole, Donald J. Trump is a genius. I mean, I've read his book. I have it by my nightstand. It's my nighttime reading, The Art of the Deal. I love it because, he's just such a normal guy. Even in the book, he writes like you can see him just a normal average guy that's really smart and intelligent and can make deals. And he knows how to do it. He has all of these years of experience. But again, I'm going to tie that into what he's done before. Only this time, what has been the game changer for him is he has experience with who to surround himself with, who to trust and who to not. And before that was a sabotage for him. He had some people around him that, oh my gosh, now we look back and I watch these documentaries and I'm like, oh, poor Donald Trump. Now he knows. And now he's like, fool me once is all you're going to do because now I know. And, it's amazing to see him in action right now, having fun and doing the job and promises made, promises kept, and just enjoying himself, because no one's going to get in the way.
You're exactly right. I mean, after the heartbreak of the loss or whatever it was in 2020, I thought, and other people thought the same thing, that this could be a good thing because if you've been in business before and you're just mired in the day-to-day battles between vendors and customers and getting paid and having to pay, and and you lose track of what you can do to make the company better. You
Mhm.
lose the big picture, and then so I could see that happening with him. He was able to he got in the belly of the beast. He saw how it worked, and then he was able to get out of it and prepare for the next time. So it was actually the best thing that could have happened. It was a
Yes.
hard 4 years, but it did a number of things. It educated the unintelligent, that the people that weren't paying attention started paying attention, and they saw the difference, and they came on board. And so, yeah, a lot of good things happened. But as you said, he picked a great team. And when he did, the first time around, he got some people that were good, but turned out not to be good. And so, he learned. But, the thing about Donald Trump is if you see videos of him 30 years ago, 40 years ago, he's saying the same thing. So
Yes.
unlike politicians that change with the wind, they go whatever the mainstream wants. He has stayed true to what he has always been. And so by doing that, you just, in your mind, you're refining, you're improving, you're paying attention, you're understanding how to make things better all the time. You don't have to keep changing. You're on that same path.
I know. And if people, I still don't understand how people don't see, the liberals say that about us, but I'm like, well, they don't have proof for anything that they say. They are just have this, Trump derangement syndrome, that they are just anything he does, he can sneeze and it's all over the news that, he's spreading a new virus. I mean, it's like, they just make things up literally, just from the, wherever they get this stuff from. It's insane. And I literally was reading this thing today, and I posted it on LinkedIn, where this guy, he was brilliant. He posted all of the achievements and the negative things that people have said about him, like the media. And, like when he was talking about disinfecting the masks, and everybody called him stupid. The media called him stupid. Some Democrats, in politics called him stupid. Hollywood called him stupid. And guess what they're doing now? They're disinfecting masks and getting them ready in case another breakout, just to reuse them, because it makes sense. I mean, this is the kind of thing that he's done, even with that, what was it? Hydrochloroquine, whatever that's called.
Hydrocortisone? Yeah. Chlorine.
Yeah. He was talking about that, and people are using it, and they're swearing by it. And it's like, but because, it's cutting into, the pharmaceuticals. Yep. The big pharma. And they're like, oh, that's not true. So now the American people are left with, you can't trust any of those guys. You just can't. You can't trust the CDC when you change things constantly on the website and then say, well, it's because science has changed. No, science is pretty factual. You can't trust someone like Fauci. I don't even want, that's a whole nother topic. That's like an hour. I can talk about that. But there's so many things that need to be changed to regroup and make Americans trust the information that we're getting again. We need it. We need it for survival. We need it to be able to depend on are we making the right decisions for our bodies? Are we, whatever. But yeah, speaking of Fauci, I don't know if you ever, I subscribe to everything, but Tucker Carlson, he had this, did you see that documentary he had on Fauci?
No, I'll make a note of that though. Watch it.
Yeah, I don't even know if it's up anymore, but he said it was only going to be up for a little bit, and I watched it. And it was everything. Let me just put it to you like this: it was everything that you probably thought and already knew, but it's just validation with evidence. Like you're watching it, going, I already knew this, but it's good to have all of the notes to it, and knowing that everything my gut told me, because I was reading and researching, but everybody else was saying no, but my gut instinct was like, yeah, no, this guy, there's something off about him. And, then you find out later on, he's an evil guy, and he's been associated with the Chinese, the Wuhan lab in China. He's been associated with that. He was associated with the whole thing. So, it's really interesting, but I highly recommend it to anybody. I can't remember what it's called. In Fauci We Trust.
You put it on your website.
Yes.
for people. Another reason to go there. But yeah, Fauci, man, when he's been on the scene for a long time, but in the background, but he was like everybody's favorite grandfather, so how can you not trust this guy?
Yeah.
You remind me of Jimmy Stewart or something like that. Yeah, that's Grandpa. And oh wow, he said that must be true. But so he used that to just lie to the whole country, time and time again, and he became very rich because of it. And
Yes.
see, the bottom line is money, and that's what drives people. That's what drives people like him. Is the big pharma. It's all about making money. And it doesn't matter at whose expense. China, they don't care about life. They care about dominance, and they care about control. And lives are, we've, as a culture, as a whole world society, we've kind of minimized the value of life over our lifetime. But of course, it's been that way for a long time. That's why Jesus Christ came, because of the way the world was back then.
Yes.
So it's not the new thing, but it's the internet helps us learn more about that quickly, and we can all, if we know how to do it, do the good research on it. Like you said, you have to go 2 or 3 sources to really find the truth, and people just don't do that. A lot of people just go by headlines, and it becomes the truth that they believe, and they'll run on it.
Especially if they're just watching the mainstream media. So the first doctor from the Wuhan lab that was dying, I saw that video in October of 2019. I wished I would have recorded that because it disappeared from the internet. He was a Chinese doctor sweating profusely from his bed, trying to tell people the words were on the bottom. He was talking about a disease that leaked from the lab. He was dying. He said, people will die from this. And he said, kind of alluded to the fact that it could have been done on purpose. I don't know. But he was trying to warn people profusely. I think he died. The video disappeared. But, everything that has happened, and with Fauci and everything, like I said, it's just something that needs to change. I'm hoping, and I know President Trump has his work cut out for him. He's doing an amazing job. I was just telling my fiance the other day, I said, I get tired just watching him on the news all the time. He's entertaining sports people. He's traveling. He goes to the Pope's funeral, and he's back the next day entertaining a football team, and he's nonstop. And if you read his book, The Art of the Deal, he gets up early. He just does things. He just gets it done. It's like, I get tired reading that too. Like watching his day, I'm like, man, how does he do this? He had like 200 calls and it's like nothing. He's just like talking about it. And that's kind of how he leads the nation. You don't see stress on his face. You don't see him shaking because I got a lot to do. He's so calm and he's funny. Oh my gosh. To me, he's one of the most sincere presidents we've ever had. He's like the kind of guy I would love to just go to dinner with and be like, tell me some stories.
It's like, what's his name? The one we all hate on HBO. What's the guy's name that has the show?
Oh, Bill Maher.
Bill Maher. And he went, his report on the dinner he had with Trump was really good. I don't know if you had a chance to read that, but and that people go, how could you do that? Well, you know what? You get to know your, I'm not going to say enemy. You get to know the people you disagree with, and that's how you learn. And he came back and he got a lot of criticism for it, but that's what you do. And Trump, same thing. He doesn't hide from people. He confronts them. Yes. And then that's what you have to do. You have to find out what they're really about. And you can't tell from what they say on TV. You just have to go face to face. He's consistent. He's always done it this way. And when you're that way, that's what he's getting, an energy that when things are going right, you don't get tired. You just keep going. You keep going. Because it drives you. It's an amazing thing.
I think he can see that the response from the American, he's ignoring the mainstream media. He knows they lie. He knows they have fake polls, whatever. So he's going by what he sees. And that's what he's done since day one when he went back out on the campaign trail. He's just getting the vibes, getting the feedback in that energy from the people when he's there. And he knows he can say, he's like, you know what, you guys can lie all day long. The smart American people are going to see right through it. And that's exactly what's happened. And those that know. To me, it's like you said, you have to face it. What you just said about him, you can only do that if you're a forthright, honest man. If you have something to hide, you can't do that. And that's why those politicians are fake. You can feel their fakeness. It's like, I feel your fakeness from here, from through the TV screen. I can feel your fakeness and you have something to hide. And that's usually the case, So I don't know. I just feel comfortable with him. I feel like my intuition is telling me is right, spot on. There was a time, Jim, when I started to believe some people saying, that he's doesn't pay his bills, that he's ripped people off. I mean, I was at the airport and one man told me, I didn't get paid because of him. I did a deal with him and I didn't get paid. They were from New York. And I started thinking about it and I thought, just hearing this one side, two things. One, it could be something that they did that any business person would say, I'm not paying you for that. That's not what the deal was. Mm-hmm. Okay. And that's what I'm thinking. That is all made up of. And I'm sure there are more than one since does so many business dealings. And the other thing is, he would not be able to think about this. He would not be able to have the business, the loans, all of it. If this were all real. If this was all real and he had people suing him, the banks aren't going to loan him money. No one's going to respect him. I mean, that gets out. So to me, it's like, it's logic and common sense. You have to stop and think about what you're hearing, the information that is being said, where you're hearing it from, and then go, wait a minute. If that were true, then you have to unpack it all and go, if that were true, then this ABC equals D and this and this and this. So then you take that theory and those lies and go, I'm going to choose not to believe that because there's not enough evidence to support that and logic to support that from a business standpoint and from any standpoint. So that's kind of where I'm at. So those people that are naysayers and make all these comments about this is my thought on it. So maybe they might want to chew on that for a while and maybe do their own research,
Right. Well, those people disappear too. They come out of the woodwork and they say, well, he did this, he did that. And then they disappear. And it's not because he's paying them off. It's because they really don't have a story.
Yeah, and just to be clear, it's not like they were Clinton either. You're talking about they just fade away in the background.
That's a whole different fade away. That's a permanent one.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. It's funny. So I wanted to get into another topic here because I like politics and I love it. You can tell I'm very passionate about it, but I'm also passionate about whiskey and cigars. I love a good cigar. Yes. I love a good cigar. I've noticed that I smoke them maybe on the weekends or right now it's the NBA playoffs. So my fiance and I will go out in the patio and have a couple of TVs going on and I'll have a small nub because it smells good and it tastes good. We'll have a glass of whiskey and then we'll drink water. I can't do a lot of whiskey anymore. If I do, I can do two glass. After two, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm like, I'm out of my comfort zone with that. And I don't do well. So we just like the taste. I like the taste of it with a good cigar.
It's great. Got a lot going on. So I don't drink at all anymore. I didn't quit. I just stopped. And so it just doesn't work into my schedule. When you get to a certain point in life, even the Coors Light will slow you down the next day a little bit. You're not 100%. And if you have to be 100% all the time, you frustrate yourself. So you just avoid it. And I'll have a non-alcoholic beer or something like that. Just if I decide to go out. But Jack Daniels though was a big deal for me for a long time, and never to the point where it was a problem. But it was. Oh yeah. It was I love it, and so yeah. In cigars, I've had a mustache since college, and cigars tend to. The fumes tend to dwell. And then when your wife says, boy, that is terrible. I go, okay, well, I just won't smoke them. And now I would, occasionally love to do a good cigar. But your, I guess, focus changes sometimes through life. And now it's just business. Kids are grown. And so it's, that's my primary focus.
I talk about him a lot, but my fiance, we've been together for about four and a half
What's
years
his name?
Now. Steve. So when I say Steve, that's who I'm talking about. Yeah.
Now I know. Okay.
He says to me, I wonder why that is. We were talking about how we can't drink that much anymore and how we can only do like one or two, and then it's like, oh, after that, I get inebriated. I used to be able to drink a lot more when I was younger. And he says, I wonder why that is. I wonder why that happens. And I'm like, I think it's God's way. This is just nature. God created us so that we slow down, because some people don't have the smarts to slow down. And I may be one of those people. I was thinking, again, those reflections, the things that I think about in life. Last night, when I was trying to fall asleep, I was thinking, I need it. I'm sure my Steve would probably like a woman who's just a little bit more feminine, a little bit more, and then I think, nah, he loves me. That's why he's with me. He loves me the way I am. But I do want to Just try to cut back on that cussing and be a little bit more ladylike.
Are you I'm sure you connect with a lot of people. People are drawn to you because of your energy and just your style. But I did a little research because of someone else on Chat GPT, which I think is I don't know if you've used that very much, but it's a tremendous, it's a tremendous tool for research and for learning about things. But there's certain things that women and men do that they have an energy that just is magnetic, and I think you're one of those people. But and so you could say things as as an accent, a swear word or cuss word, instead of people that use the F word for like a verb, a noun, an adjective, an adverb, all in the same sentence.
Yeah, I used to be that girl. Sorry, sorry to disappoint, but I have gotten better.
That's good.
There's always time. There's always. Yes, it's always possible. People always say, "Oh, you can't change." Yes, you can. You can absolutely change.
You can change.
How bad do you want to be that? Yes. How bad do you want to be that person that you see yourself being? Like, it's possible. So I'm proof right here.
That's right. Good way to look at it.
Well, Jim, listen, I have really enjoyed this. I hope that you come back in our our show. Yes.
And keep building.
Absolutely.
Yes. Good.
Thank you, Jim. I appreciate you.
Pleasure,
we'll talk
Amy.
soon. You bet. Take care.
Hope so.
Hey, everyone. So thanks for joining us for our first ever episode of A Man's Girl USA. I hope that you found the content relevant to what you like and your interest. See you hopefully next episode 2 of season 1, A Man's Girl USA.